So tonight we'll be covering my 16th day, or January the 16th, at the men's shelter at the Fundamentalist. So let's see here. The preacher they had on the 16th was probably one of the other extremes. Let's see here. What causes quarrels and fights? That's what he started off with. Claims being part of the world is to make an enemy of God, which I put like reason and science, just being snarky. I don't remember exactly what the preacher had wrote or had said, but whatever it was, he went on a tangent, and I was like, oh great, anti-LGBT propaganda, pray the gay away, claims passions are at war with self, makes an analogy with tea and hot water. I'm not exactly, I vaguely remember him speaking about it, but I don't know what the analogy is, so I'm not going to make one up. I don't remember what his analogy was. Claims your desires and passions lead to violence, which I had in parentheses, like, greed, question mark. So it's called, so I ended up, as a rebuttal in my notes, saying that it's called self-responsibility. To covet is to want. That alone isn't bad. While stealing stuff because you are too lazy to earn it on your own, or to ask for help, is where problems occur. So he said, motive of prayer, question mark, claims to pray. Okay, so motive of prayer. He was making a point where, like, people say, well, the prayer doesn't always work, right? And so here's his explanation on why. He said, it claims that you have to pray for others, not for self. Claims that pagans are worshippers of false gods, which, of course, me sitting in the pew, I'm kind of chuckling to myself. Like, okay. So I wrote, pagans' belief systems existed before Christianity. It's this convert or die that spread Christianity. Hate spreads quicker than love. He reinstates friend of the world, enemy of God, and that God is jealous and judgeful. So I, as me being snarky, I said, essentially, I made you, so obey me. Like, yeah, that's love. So, and now we're going to get to the actual Bible part. Claims God opened up the earth to swallow people. Now, he didn't go into a lot of detail, but I figured out what he was referring to. So we'll dig right into this, and shows you just how loving and forgiving he is. So, get the camera focus. This would be, so that you know, Numbers in chapter 16, I think. Okay. And this would be, God threatens to destroy all of Israel. I'm waiting for the focus here so you guys can read along. So I'm going to skip around a little bit, but you can read it in full if you wish. I should be able to get most of this in view for you. Okay, and the Lord spake, he spoke unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, separate yourselves amongst this congregation so that I may consume them in a moment. So, like, yeah, God actually is planning to do so. And you can read for, like, Moses is conversing with God and all this. So yeah, and it came to pass, and he made, at the end of speaking all these words, that the ground clave asunder and was under them, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up, and their houses, and all the men into, I don't know how to pronounce that word, and their goods. They and all that appreciate or appertained There we go. 2 then went down into the pit, and the earth closed upon them, and they perished among the congregation. And all of Israel that were around about them fled and cried, for they said, "Lest they swallow us, the earth swallowed us up too." And then there came out a fire from the Lord, and he consumed 250 men that offered incense. So it wasn't bad enough. Like, there was a few survivors, so God had to breathe fire at them. Like this is I love dragons, but who sounds like the fucking dragon in this story, right? 'Cause dragons are portrayed as evil. Who's the one breathing fire and finishing them off? I wasn't going to go any further with this, but I happened when I flipped the page, I noticed that where I highlighted it, because it seeped through, just happened to highlight something just as discriminatory on the other side. So I'm going to read this for shits and giggles. This was not part of what the preacher said, but come on, I really don't. I got to update my phone. A minute here. I don't want nobody to say I'm taking a shit out of context. That's why I go through the extra effort to get this shit to focus. There we go. I think what happens if it has too many different things, it won't focus. Alright. So, God sends a plague to Israel. Now, I wasn't even looking for this. I just turned the page and was like, huh. The Lord spake unto Moses, Get up from among the congregation, that I may consume them as in a moment. And they fell to their faces. And Moses spake unto Aaron, Take a censer and put fire within from off the altar and onto the incense, to go quickly unto the congregation and make an atonement for them. There is wrath gone out from the Lord, and the plague is begun. So, who's the one causing plagues and stuff? And Aaron took this as Moses commanded, and ran into the midst of the congregation, and behold, the plague had begun among people, and put on incense and made an atonement for the people. So, and then over here, let's see here. And the Lord spake to Moses, Bring Aaron's rod again before the testimony to be kept for a token against the rebels, and thou shalt quite take away their murmurings from me, and they die not. So I just thought that was a little extra, just by chance. I highlighted something that seeped through. It's just as terrible as the original. So that's, the Bible can't help but tell on itself. So anyhow, let's see. So that's what he was referring to. Where's the love and compassion? Submit to God. Like, this is me saying. So essentially, do what I say, not what I do. And if you think for yourself or use reasoning, it must be the devil. Bible. So then he continues to say, Bible claims that 10% is more important than paying people or bills that you owe. Which is nonsense. I mean, you have to pertain to the world around you before you can worry about anything else. Claims God won't abandon you, which I just put BS and I left it at that. So, that's tonight's study. Hope that was as disturbing as it was entertaining for you as it was for me.